while they're there, to inspire people.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I want people to experience the space more than just accessing it.
Gotcha.
And so I've come up with this design idea, and one of the main components of this idea is creating a portrait out of mosaic. My idea centers itself around portrait and portraiture. And so, because I've done different things that have to do with portraits, I've done tattoos in the past, I've done oil painting, I've done like a lot of different things where I had to capture the human body, the human anatomy a certain way. I'm able to do this. The reason Ayo's on the project is because he has a particular perspective as it pertains to capturing Black moments in portrait with the human body. Aki, who's a close partner, close friend of mine, she went and actually invested her own money to take a class on exactly how to piece mosaic together the professional way from one of the premier mosaic artists in the city by the name of Miss Laurel Troops.
So this was the piece that I created with Laurel, and I'm really grateful for the wisdom she shared, and she felt very open to us sharing this to sharing this wisdom. And mosaic is, you know, it's not necessarily easy, but it also, once you get the hang of it, it's not complicated. It's really just like a puzzle piece, and being very intentional with even how you cut things, how you place things in your design. So I'm gonna do like we took a 3-day workshop. I'm gonna like summarize it in like maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'll introduce you to our tools. This was to cut your glass and your glass pieces. Some people have stained glass pieces, mirror. So this is kind of to get a more controlled cut. So you kind of mark it, and then you use this tool to like nick the cut and kind of get a clean cut. I'm gonna do a demonstration of that. This is your tile nippers. So this is when you want to break up, you know, some pieces like this, some ceramic tile. And then this is your other tile / glass nippers. So this is just to break up pieces like how I have in her hair. And the way I did that was I kind of just took a piece and I just, you know, you just like nick it away, just like little incisions. So those were those tools, primarily to, you know, get what we accomplished done. And you can get little craft pieces that are already, you know, created, so you can just place those how you want, or like these already have a shape. So she liked to call those your jewels. So you can,
that's what I look at, little jewels.
Yeah, you can make it less work for yourself by just like putting things that are already made. And this piece is gonna go inside, so we kind of just chose random pieces, but for outdoor pieces we would have high fire ceramic tiles and not as many glass pieces, because just weathering and things like that deteriorate the tiles over time.
Right.
So you have to
That
be
was
really
my question, where you get the tiles and qualities.
Yeah, so
How is it?
it's harder to source materials in New Orleans now. Like even when Laurel was here, there was a tile shop, but since COVID they shut down and stuff. So she actually orders her tiles from Holland
Oh my
and ships them here.
I thought you was gonna say China.
Me too. I don't know why that came to my mind.
So yeah, she gets them from Holland, and then the tools we had to get from Amazon, because I mean in Lowe's they had some tools, but a lot of the materials we had to kind of order. So you know, yeah, it is interesting, but like it's an art form that a lot of people, I mean, you know, a lot of people aren't doing it, so the demand is, you know, really low. Yeah. So maybe this will spark a demand, because it really is a beautiful art form.
It is.
And you know, it is cool because this can go anywhere. This can go on the side
And
of my
it's
house.
gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
That's gonna go on my little footstool.
Yeah.
I think it's important too where we use this art form to commemorate, like, if you use something to commemorate things that have a serious meaning, then people are gonna take and people are gonna take the art form a little bit more seriously.
Yes, I agree.
You know, but you know, mosaic I think has been used so much for like just interior decor and just like a fun feel or whatever that people have forgotten that it was a choice way to keep memories, you know, to keep history, especially the way the Romans used it.
Right, I was thinking
I think
of the Catholic Church.
the Roman, the Catholic Church, some of it, stained glass too, but the Roman way of mosaic was to commemorate their generals and emperors, and they would usually want to use stone. And
like a limestone.
That was
or something.
well, it was a lot of different types of stone that they became like
What about the Egyptians?
sculptors. They were really good sculptors. The Egyptians did the same thing, but they did so with huge blocks of stone. So what they were capable of doing,
right?
yes, but I think theirs was more like etching because it was meant to like leave an indentation.
Right.
Mosaic is specifically taking something and breaking it
then,
in order to put it back together in a creative way. You know, based on the color of the stone, sometimes natural and sometimes, you know, applied.
It's also seen in like Islamic like mosques.
Yes.
Where they'll have mosaic tiles. Most of them come from like a really long time ago, and they still stand with the same amount of bright color, which is why ceramic. I work with ceramic sometimes. I work with ceramic tiles sometimes. And the teacher says like these will last forever, which is why we're working with like a time capsule thing where we make ceramic tiles and then we put them in a time capsule, seal it for like 50 years. And because ceramic stays for so long, you know how we see like pots and like artifacts that have stayed for thousands of years.
Yeah.
You'll be able to pick it up and it looks the same as it did the same day you fired.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's exactly. She just explained that perfectly. That's exactly what we're trying to do with like these stories and these concepts is to like do something serious enough for people to want to, you know, look at the art form as a choice way to commemorate things, especially here in the city. I think it would be a great thing to, you know, add to art and culture, especially in New Orleans East, where we need more staples for us, you know,
And
things
Laurel,
that we do.
She's moved to
And pick
Oakland
spots,
now.
find spots to do it, you know?
Yes.
We gotta find those spots where people see it. Like by the park is perfect.
The image is of a woman showing a spirit of ingenuity as well as resilience. Resilience more than anything in the face of natural disaster. So this is a New Orleans home, New Orleans style home. And these are flood waters rising. But a big theme of my design, and when I show y'all the design, it'll be able to pull a lot of this together, is us using our past difficulties as it pertains to water, specifically. Using the difficulty as a diving board to dive back into the water and have fun. So repurposing what it is that we started with, which a lot of times was nothing, you know, and turning it into something that we can be proud of and that we can represent. And a lot of the themes are like that in my work as it pertains to the art that's going on the mosaic pieces. And so this is like an introduction to that theme. Very little of Mardi Gras happens in the East. Very little of Jazz Fest happens in the East. Very little of Essence Fest happens in the East. Very little of all that happens. But when Katrina happened, that happened all through the East. And so it's like we get all of the bad, we want to get some of the good too. We want to feel like we're a part of all of this art and culture and development and all of the things that are coming up, you know, especially economically for people in the city, you know, as the city changes. And so this represents our, from being from New Orleans, I was born in East Lake Hospital. My daddy lived in Willowbrook, huh, Dad? Y'all lived in Willowbrook first, huh? Yeah, my dad and my mama lived in Willowbrook first. Then they left there, moved to a house in the 7th Ward. So I lived in the 7th Ward from 2 to probably like 11, 12. And then we moved by my grandma Joan in Roger Drive. My grandmother lived in Gaslight Square. My daddy
You
lived in
said Gaslight, and
Gaslight.
my 20s, that's where my first apartment was.
Exactly. A lot of our first apartment was in Gaslight, you know. So my grandmother lived in Gaslight almost all my life.
Yeah.
See, everybody, that's what I'm saying. My grandfather was in Tower Lane, City Place.
Yes.
All my little cousins that come from that side of the family, that's where I used to go play with them at. My auntie lived off Diamond Road my whole life. My uncle, Uncle Sam, stayed in Skyview probably since I was born.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm a real East baby. Like, as much as I'm from the 7th Ward, as much as I'm from the 9th Ward, most of my life has happened in New Orleans.
Nice,
You know, having to be from the East, but I gotta go all the way
across
the river to be going to the second school in the
See, my
district.
thing is mentally, I don't like crossing that river. It's like it does psychological thing to me. I don't like crossing.
I think that's a lot of us. That's a lot of us.
I was like,
But
my
you
aunt
gotta-
lived over there, but I swear we never saw her.
But it's
She was like, you over
socially,
there.
socially is different. Socially is so different because I mean the police handle people differently over there. The laws are slightly different there.
Yes,
And the mentality of people as a result of that is different. You know, so knowing our community and the mentality of our people, we have our pros, we have our cons, but I'm looking to lean further to our pros as of late and trying to figure out like how can we pull resources together. And I was just telling Sister Walida, one of the creative ways that I want to be able to use funding from this project is to take some of the funds that they're giving me for completing this work, and instead of like, just for an example, I have an option to go and get a facility to do all of this work in, try to do it in my shop or somewhere where I can house the YAM cohorts that they want me to teach. There's a lot involved with the RFP, but they want me to educate kids and stuff.
I
So
think that's important.
I was thinking like I need to go and get a space. I gotta get a space. Instead of me going to get this large, sprawling space that I kind of went and found, and it's really nice and it doesn't cost much, right? I can get it, but I think the money that would go into the budget for that would be better served giving it to a space that needs renovation. And then they are able to continue that kind of programming with you know students that need diversionary programs and you know things like that, juvenile justice initiatives and things, stuff like that. So I called my godfather, Pastor Thaddeus Lee, and I asked him, I'm like, you know, the space that I was using previously, he allowed me to use a space at his church to do my work. You know, I own a customs company and I was building things there and doing things there. And so I called him, I was like, what would you say if, you know, I would just renovate your space just as a gift back to you for, you know, all you've done for me and everything. And, you know, he said, we can talk about it. You know, so we're not there yet, just like the proposal they haven't given me the job yet. But once they do, the conversations are already open for me to do things that will have a lasting effect. And instead of taking money and just pouring it down a rental hole to somebody we don't even know.
Right.
You know, so I'm trying to do that as many times in the project as I possibly can.